What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Predator Badlands. In this story, we follow a young predator who is outcast from his clan and finds an unlikely ally on his journey in search for the ultimate adversary. Final fucking I've been saying this since 2018's The Predator, is that the studio just couldn't keep banking off nostalgia and the original source material. And while there are so many comic books, video games, and non-canonical stories out there about the Predator, I've just been shocked that they haven't had the chance to capitalize on unpacking the world of this technologically advanced hunter. The Alien franchise, on the other hand, has definitely been one to expand and take risks to really keep the audience interested, and with the release of Dan Trachtenberg's 2022's Prey, I thought it was a nice step back to the right direction. Now, for those of you who have seen my review on Prey, I did talk about how much of a surprise that was, how much of a good movie it was, but it was also a lost opportunity to unpack and really pull back the veil on the world of the Yautja. After the success of that movie, I kept seeing the internet go wild over the pitch of the Predator just regurgitating the same formula as Prey, like, the Predator going up against samurai warriors in Japan, or crossing hairs with Nazis in World War II. That's all fine and dandy, but Dan Trachtenberg ended up scratching that itch with another animated anthology called Predator Killer of Killers, which released on Hulu. Now, I thought that Killer of Killers was pretty impressive, but I know a lot of hardcore fans felt at arm's length with it because of its animated direction. And you know what? While this movie was in post, Dan Trachtenberg was already hard at work with his third Predator project, so a few months later, we get a first look at his live-action, feature-length theatrical release of Predator Badlands. And for the first time, this story was going to be led with a protagonist, which was the Predator himself. I was all on board for it because it was taking a much refreshing approach to the franchise than what we were used to. And after seeing the movie for myself, I can honestly say that this is the Predator movie that we have been waiting for. Where we are used to the humans leading the narrative, we are immediately introduced to a Yautja named Dek, who is pretty much the runt of his clan. And we get a sense of this cutthroat culture, this world of hurt, that within the first 2 minutes of the movie, the action was just off to the races. Starting off with the positives, you don't have to be well versed in Yautja lore nor have any knowledge of the previous Predator films in order to be fully engaged with this one. Yes, it is pretty obvious in the trailers that we do get to see some of the Weyland-Yutani synthetics and equipment that make an appearance, but those are Easter eggs that are not going to pay off the way that hardcore fans would want them to. During the time of the script's conception, the creatives were unaware of the productions of Alien Romulus and Alien Earth, so if you're watching this and you're expecting to see xenomorphs, I'm going to shut that down right now. There's no connected universe references, no homework required. Whether you're walking into this as a fan, I think you might see a few things that you're going to be like, that was a nice little nod. And then if you're walking into this brand new, I don't think you're going to miss out anything, because the first 10 to 15 minutes will pretty much give you enough information to really lock you in and give you just enough setup. After all these years, we are so used to the Predator being this antagonistic and iconic movie monster that Trachtenberg's script, his direction, the CGI motion work, and our lead's performance really deliver on this spectrum of emotions with the character, where you feel immediately empathetic with his journey, with his survival, with his motivations, and with the actor Demetrius Shuster Koloamantanji. I hope I said that name right. I'm sorry if I butchered it, but he plays our main character Dek, and he is just as vocal as he can emote. So although we get some dialogue exchange in his native tongue, we do get some long-winded sequences where it's just his physical performance, which was really awesome. Another aspect that I admired about this approach was how it doesn't undercut the brutality and threat that represents the Yautja. Take for example the character of Godzilla, where there could be other stories where he is our protagonist that we team up with, or he is our antagonist that we'd love to oppose, but no matter what, the character always carries this demeanor of not to be fucked with. Once we land on the planet of Jenna, aka the deadliest planet in the galaxy, where every biological organism that is living beneath the soil, soaring in the sky, swimming in those waters, or hiding within the shadows are pretty much bound to kill you. Deck is pretty much dead set on capturing his first biggest trophy, and even considering the limited amount of arsenal he has, especially his signature plasma cannon or even his iconic face shield slash armor. The one trope I enjoy seeing in these movies is how the Predator could be very resourceful with his environment, like obtaining things considering his given circumstances, his surroundings, with how he could defend himself. And this is a Disney production that really utilized its time with CGI and attention to details, because a lot of the plant life, a lot of the terrain, the creatures was just very immersive. It almost felt like I was walking back into Pandora in Avatar, or Skull Island in King Kong. I mean, just beautiful, but deadly. And speaking of immersive, composers Sarah Schachner and Benjamin Wallfish, I hope I got their last names right, they were pretty much right on the money when it came to the sound mixing and score of the film. I mean, it felt very tribal and primal, and these are the kind of tracks that I pretty much blast the entire motion picture soundtrack on my way to work to get hyped for the day. Not since the first Alien vs. Predator has any of the other films been PG-13, and I know many fans were pretty much concerned that a lot of the violence and action was going to be watered down considering the final MPAA rating for Predator Badlands. And I am happy to report that the violence and the action go so hard from start to finish that I actually forgot I was watching something that wasn't rated R. And there is just no human red blood and gore. I mean, I was actually shocked at how much they got away with titanic creatures and synthetic androids just being torn limb from limb, just entrails ripped open, flesh into shreds. Now, getting into my mixed opinions, this IP has definitely been Disney-fied, and I mean that in the best way possible. I mean, first of all, you got a buddy road trip slash adventure. You got emotional family drama, you got comedic reliefs, you got cute animal sidekicks, larger than life threats, and a villain barking orders complete with henchmen. It checks all the boxes, and at times it may come off as formulaic and predictable, but it somehow managed to work for me. Now guys, I gotta be honest, I was very worried because we are introduced to a character named Thea, who is played by Elle Fanning, and she began to grain on my nerves. She has a very boisterous personality, but once we really ease into her subplot, once we get to see how integral her goals are, what her mission is, I really warmed up to her. I really truly embraced her. The dynamic between Deck and Thea was just genuinely funny, especially with how serious he is and how many times he mentions the callus, which is just a lot. I mean, honestly, go ahead and start taking shots every time he says the word callus. And especially with Thea and how much questions that she decides to bombard him about being a yautja. I mean, they're all questions that every human being, especially who are very well versed in the Predator universe, has questions about. And as I mentioned before, there is a cute animal sidekick named Bud. It's cute, but it's also really ugly. And I can only imagine that it's only going to be used as a marketing tool to sell toys, and I think kids will like it. It's kind of weird, but it's cute, but it's ugly. There is more of a prominent villain that makes themselves known to our main characters other than the creature that Deck is hunting, but if I'm going to be honest, it felt very half-baked. It felt like boss level 1, or the first chapter to a much bigger quest. Overall, I have been at awe with this underdog epic from start to finish. It is clear as day that Trachtenberg is a fan of the IP, and his vision to keep this franchise going has been nothing short but impressive. And each installment just feels so distinctive that I really look forward to seeing more. Even if you're a video gamer, I'm pretty sure you can appreciate some of the influences that they're pulling from, like God of War, Monster Hunter, Shadow of Colossus. This is without a doubt one of the most exciting, exhilarating, entertaining, and bold blockbusters of the season. The Predator franchise has never been better. Well, alright guys, that's all I got to share about that movie. Go ahead and check it out on the biggest screen possible with the biggest bangest sound. Look forward to more reviews. I'm Jaren Agbanawag. I want to thank you guys again for taking some time out of your day to hear me talk some movies. I'll see you guys at the theater. In the meantime, take care.